Hi everyone, this is Ali Hassan. I'd like to welcome you all to this part 9 of my presentations on project management. I also like to apologize if I missed to reply to some of your comments on previous presentations. So this part is on developing the project management plan. As you remember, in the last 4 presentations, we talked about the project phases, which are the initiation, planning and design, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing the project. In the initiation phase, we set the stage for the project and get the go-ahead for it. In the planning and design phase, we do all the planning and develop the roadmap for executing the project, which is called the project management plan, and also produce all the documents which are required to execute the project. In the executing phase, we execute the project and produce what we plan to produce, like, for example, building a plant, developing a new software, producing a vaccine, etc. In the monitoring and controlling phase, we monitor the work and control the way how it is done. In the closing phase, we close the project and give the keys to the client. So in this part, we're going to talk about how we develop the project management plan. So as an overview on this PMP, the project management plan, the definition according to PM book, develop the project management plan is the process of defining, preparing, and coordinating all plan components and consolidating them into an integrated project management plan, which is a comprehensive document that defines the basis of all the project work and how the work will be performed. So there are so many plans, and we're going to go into little detail on these plans later on. This process is to define, prepare, and coordinate all these components and put them in one document, which is called the project management plan. The primary use of this project management plan is to document the planning assumptions and decisions and facilitate communication among project stakeholders and document approved scope, cost, and schedule baselines. Project plan may be summarized or detailed. So for small projects, you don't need to do a very detailed project management plan because this work is expensive, of course, and it will cost the project a lot of money. So it depends on the size of the project. If it's a large or medium project, you need a detailed project management plan. So as a minimum, the project plan answers basic questions about the project. It answers the why. Why is it being sponsored and done? Why the project is done? And the what. What are the major products and deliverables of this project? What we are going to produce, what we are going to build, who and how, who will be involved, and what will be their responsibilities within the project, and how will they be organized, and when the milestones will be complete. Milestones are the the major activities of the project, like getting the budget approved, getting the cost and baseline and schedule baseline approved, producing some major activities. That's the major milestones. So this is a diagram and sketch to show this process, to show the inputs and tools and techniques used to produce it, and the output. So the input to this process, we need the project charter. We need other process output. Processes output. We use the enterprise environmental factors. We use the organizational process assets, and we're going to talk about these in a minute. What tools and techniques we use to use these inputs and to produce the project management plan. So the tools and techniques are expert judgment, data gathering, interpersonal and team skills, and meetings. The output, as we said, is the project management plan, which has a lot of so many subsidiary project management plans. So we talk about the process input. As we said, we use the project charter. What is the project charter? And I think we mentioned this in one of the first two, the first two presentations. The project charter is a statement of the scope, objectives, and participants in the project. So it's a general document. It provides a preliminary delineation of roles and responsibilities, outlines the project's key goals, identifies the main stakeholders, and defines the authority of the project manager. So it is a general document to define the scope, objectives, and what are the participants in this project. The second input to this process is the other processes output. So we have so many processes, we have to use them to develop the project management plan. These processes are the project scope management, the project schedule management, the project cost management, project quality management, project communication management, and project risk management, project procurement management, project stakeholders management, and project resources management. The third input to this process is the enterprise environmental factors. What are these enterprise or organization environmental factors? The first one is the government or industry standards. Like what product standards, what quality standards, what safety standards, used by the enterprise, and what are the workmanship standards. The second one is the legal and regulatory requirements or constraints. The third one is the organizational structure, culture of this organization, because every organization has its own culture, it has its own management practices, and sustainability. The fourth one is the organizational governance framework, the structured way to provide control and direction and coordination through people, policies, and processes to meet the organizational, strategic, and operational goals. The last one is the infrastructure. What are the existing facilities and capital equipment which are used in this organization? The fourth and last input to this process is the organizational process assets. So these are the assets that can influence the developed project management plan. They are the following: organizational standard policies, processes, and procedures, which are specific to this organization. The project management plan template. You know, some companies have their own templates. You have to use it, including guidelines, project closure guidelines, etc. And the change control procedures. So each company and organization has its own change control procedures. The other one is the monitoring and reporting methods. You know, every company has its own reporting methods and how to control the project and how to control the risks, risk control procedures and communications requirements. Project information from previous similar projects. This is very important because you have a lot of database. You should use it to, to help you to produce your project management plan and also the project documents. And the last thing is the historical information and lesson learned. Historical information from previous projects and lesson learned from previous projects. Lesson learned could be positive and negative. So these were the inputs to the project management, how to develop the project management plan. So what are the tools and techniques we use to produce the project management plan? The first one is the expert judgment. So, we should use the expertise of other people and groups. So expertise should be considered from individuals or groups which specialize with the specialized knowledge. And these people and groups could be even could be external to the company or to the organization. The other tool, the data gathering. So how do we gather data? We gather data by, say, brainstorming. So brainstorming is to bring, some people and brainstorm them and see what ideas they have. The focus groups. The focus groups is the bring together stakeholders to discuss the project management approach and the integration of the different components. The checklists. So there are many organizations have standardized checklists available based, in their own experience, or use checklists from the industry. A checklist may guide the project manager to develop the plan or may help to verify that all the required information is included in the project management plan. Interviews, meeting and interviews. So meetings could be one-on-one meeting, or could be group meetings, project, or interviews with the stakeholders and other people to get their, to get their information and ideas about how to produce and develop the project management plan. The last one is the interpersonal and team skills. There are many skills in this regard. So one of them is the conflict management. You have some stakeholders which have different ideas. So conflict management is maybe necessary to bring diverse stakeholders into alignment on all aspects of the project management plan. Facilitation. Facilitation is ensures that there is effective participation, that participants achieve a mutual understanding that all contributors are considered, and the conclusions or results have full buy-in according to the decision process established for this project. Meeting management. So meeting management is necessary to ensure that the numerous meetings that are necessary to develop, unify, and agree on the project management plan are well run. So we talked about the inputs and the how we use the tools and techniques to produce the project management plan. Now we talk about the output of this process. So the output of this process is the project management plan, which is a very important document. So it is the project management plan, as we said before, is the document that describes how the project will be executed, monitored and controlled and closed. It integrates and consolidates all the subsidiary management plans and baselines and other information necessary to manage the project. So what are the subsidiary management plans, which we said we consolidate them in one document, which is called the project management plan. So there are 12 subsidiary management plans, and in the future, each one of them will have its own presentation because they are very important documents. So the first one is the scope management plan. You know, how we manage the scope of the project. Requirements management plan. How do we collect the project requirements? How do we manage it also? A schedule management plan. How do we manage the schedule? Cost management plan. How do we manage the cost, and how do we manage the spending of the budget? Resources management plan. How do we manage the resources? Resources could be human beings and could be tools and materials and services. The change management plan. How do we manage the changes in the project? 6, quality management plan. How do we manage the quality? Communication management plan. How do we manage the communication in the project and with the stakeholders? Risk management plan. How do we identify and manage and respond to the risk? Procurement management plan is to plan and manage the procurement of the services and tools and equipment and so on to the project. Stakeholders engagement plan. How do we engage the stakeholders in order for the project to succeed? And the configuration management plan. And as I mentioned, each one of these will have its own presentation in the future. This is not project documents are not part of the project management plan, but they are very important. And I'm not going to go into to list all of them. There are 33 documents. These are very important documents to help you to execute the project. I just want to touch base on the baselines. We mentioned the baselines. The baselines are mentioned and fixed in the design and planning phase, which are the scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. And they are important part of the project management plan. So the scope baseline is the approved version of a scope statement, work breakdown structure, and its associated dictionary, which is used as a basis for comparison between what we plan to produce and what we actually produce. This is very important. If any changes happen unapproved, this baseline may change. The other one is the schedule. The second one is the schedule baseline, which is the approved version of the schedule model that is used as a basis for comparison to the actual results. And the last one, the cost baselines. The cost baseline is the approved version of the time phase project budget that is used as a basis for comparison to the actual results. So we have a budget. We said that we're going to execute the project with this budget and this cost, and this is phased on timely basis and activity basis. So we use this baseline to compare it to the actual expenditure in order to keep a track of the budget. So this is the last part of this presentation, and as I mentioned, in the near future we're going to have separate presentation on each of these subsidiary plans, and I will invite some of my colleagues to give some of these presentations. So I hope that this presentation is helpful, and we hope to see you in the future. Thank you very much, and see you again.